it looks right now that the administration is going to pass this Stablecoin Act. And the reason it affected Bitcoin is it leads to the next bill. Institutional wealth and sovereign wealth can now go into Bitcoin. And that is very, very positive for price discovery on Bitcoin.
Market shakeup today as Bitcoin falls from a new high of $112,000 all the way down to $107,000, right now consolidating at 109. Let's talk about why this is happening. Look no further than the man, the myth, the commander-in-chief himself, President Donald Trump, slamming down tariffs on the European Union, saying 50% tariffs will go into effect June 1st, combined with the fact that Donald Trump is trying to force Apple to make their iPhones in America, slamming them with a 25% tariffs unless something happens. What the hell is going on?
We have to figure out what's going on.
This is one potential scenario. Sir, bond markets are shaky. Japan's 40-year is soaring. US 10-year is rising. Well, what's the fix? We could try and create a stock market sell-off, 25% tariff on Apple, 50% on Europe to boost bonds. So Trump is still trying to play 4D chess with the markets, it seems. And because of this, we're seeing headlines like this. Bitcoin price falls back from highs. Trump's tariff threats are hurting crypto. Or because of the dip, even more sensational headlines. ETH exit pump completed. We're about to crash hard. Altcoin season is canceled. Guys, do not be fooled. What is this, a dip for ants? Bitcoin's bull market is just getting started. This is a healthy pullback in my opinion. A pullback is happening, but things are just getting started. If every red candle is going to instill this much panic, that makes me even more bullish. So you can blame Moody's, bonds, tariffs. You can put the narrative to this pullback and retest, but that's just what it is. Literally nothing more than a breakout, hitting resistance and pulling back. Breakout, hitting resistance and pulling back, hopefully to go on for higher highs. This dip is a buying opportunity, in my opinion. Also quality altcoins, buying opportunity, in my opinion. How can I be so sure that this isn't the top of the market? Well, take a look at the Bitcoin price versus the Bitcoin percent balance on exchanges. The Bitcoin cycle ends with a surge of balances coming on exchanges as people put Bitcoin and crypto on exchanges to sell, essentially. But what do we notice about this cycle? Not only has there been no surge, but the balance on exchanges is actively decreasing. Look at this. The masses aren't even here yet. Yes, this is one of the major differences this time around. Institutions are driving this. And like I said, there are a lot of quality altcoins in the space today. Ethereum will be one of the most hated rallies because there are lower caps that I'm bullish on as well, but do not count Ethereum out. Ethereum price climbs, generally speaking, over the past couple weeks as ecosystem activity surges. 15 million plus active weekly addresses, 564,000 active addresses on multiple chains. ETH layer 2 dominance 6 times up. The Ethereum ecosystem is close to uncharted territory. Yet, but still, Donald Trump is shaking things up. We're going to get positive crypto regulation because of this guy, but we also have to take things like this. Yesterday, President Donald Trump hosted a Memecoin dinner for his top 220 Trump Memecoin holders. The top 25 wallets will get a VIP White House tour. CNBC actually did a great job covering the results of all this. Take a look at what went down at Trump's Memecoin dinner.
So it was billed as the most exclusive invitation in the world. And crypto whales spent a combined $148 million to get in. Now, among the 220 attendees, former NBA star Lamar Odom, crypto executives, and the top 25 token holders who now get a private tour and one-on-one audience with the president later today. But some guests left disappointed after Trump gave only brief remarks at his Virginia Golf Club, repeating talking points about a U.S. Bitcoin reserve, then left without taking questions or photos. The number one token holder, Justin Sun, a Chinese-born mogul sued by the SEC, holds more than $22 million in Trump's Memecoin and another $75 million in the World Liberty token tied to Trump's crypto bank.
Even Financial Services Committee Chair Representative French Hill says, he's not loving the Trump Memecoin dinner, but he has big plans to pass big crypto regulation, and he's working with Trump on that.
Well, I've said on the record that Trump family activity in the meme coin space makes my work in Congress more complicated. I've said that. But here's the good news. I'm in New York today for the Solana Foundation conference about the future of Web3 and the future of how we're going to use blockchain to transform our economy in a number of ways. And what my goals are to have a dollar-backed stablecoin legislation this year and a market framework legislation passed this year that President Trump can sign into law, and that will bring innovation, coding, funding back to the United States and put us back in the lead, in my view, on this aspect of fintech. And I believe we can do it. And so I view the dinner last night as, whatever. That's, to me, a distraction from the work I think we need to do for the major big picture macro policy.
Everybody sees what's about to happen in the US, and we're seeing a lot of different entities. Like today, the story is major banks, JP Morgan Chase and other large banks, exploring a joint stablecoin. Everybody sees sweeping regulation is going to be passed in the US sooner rather than later. First stablecoin bill, then market structure bill, then hopefully Bitcoin reserve bill.
There'll be multiple competing stablecoins, in my view. You see the headlines today that the large banks are thinking about collectively having a stablecoin. Right. It's a new payment rail in Web3 on a blockchain to compete with other payment methodologies. I don't view it as a store of value. I view it as debit cash, credit stablecoin, buy something institutionally or as a consumer.
Do you see it as hopefully disinflationary, meaning that it should take cost out of the system?
Oh, my gosh, yeah. Well, blockchain generally, what attracts me to crypto is not crypto, not Bitcoin, but the operating system benefits of blockchain. I think it takes costs out of the system. I think for consumers, it creates accessibility. Look at the Benji, which is Franklin Templeton's money market account that's been tokenized. They can offer that at a higher rate and a lower dollar amount to customers because the cost's been taken out of the system, and yet fully compliant with the SEC.
Make sure you subscribe, guys, and watch regularly. We are in the calm before the storm. We are trying every day for years and years now to drill into your head that Bitcoin and crypto is the future. And if you've been studying the market for any length of time, you can kind of see on TV, everybody's for it now. There is no risk. Then Mr. Wonderful is not going on TV anymore and saying the U.S. is going to ban it. Mr. Wonderful is going on TV and going, guys, two big sweeping legislations are just about to be passed for crypto. Institutional demand is surging. You need to buy this. Listen to this clip. I'll see you tomorrow.
The reason this is occurring, in my view, is that I don't know if you're watching what's happened in the last 48 hours, the advancement of what's called the Genius Act in the United States, which was the old Stablecoin Act. This passed the Senate with 66 votes 48 hours ago and is now being debated on the House floor. Elizabeth Warren is very much against it, but even last night they picked up 6 more advocates, 6 more representatives. And it looks right now that the administration is going to pass this Stablecoin Act, which will allow the U.S. currency to become a form of digital payment system globally, which is a good thing for the U.S. dollar in the view of most senators and representatives. And so if this passes, and the reason it affected Bitcoin is it leads to the next bill, which is called the Markets Structure Act. And the Structure Act determines whether Bitcoin is a commodity or a security. And that, once that's decided, institutional wealth and sovereign wealth can now go into Bitcoin and allocate it as an asset. And that is very, very positive for price discovery on Bitcoin. And as a result, the coin has moved past $100,000 in value. And there's a fair amount of interest in it because if they anticipate that the Stablecoin Act will pass, and that eventually both the House and Senate will look at the Market Structure Act and determine what Bitcoin is as an asset, and it will become an alternative asset class for institutional investing.